thing.
I ain't taking nothing but win.
What's up, everybody? Money E here, back with another edition of the Unscripted Sports Show. Back here for college football week 14 picks and team playoff projecting rankings number four. Two more to go next week, and then the final one. Should be interesting. Watching the review now. It's not live, but so Alabama's number 10, Notre Dame number 9. Let me wind this. So number 15 was Michigan, 14 was Vandy, Utah was 13, and then we get into the 12. Top 12 is Miami, BYU, 12 and 11. So, and then Bama number 10. As this goes on, I'll reveal this. Notre Dame number 9. And I'll get to my picks. And do I have some upsets this week that will change everything? Last week I went 3-2. I am 30 and 25 on the season. My best bet. I went 0-2. I'm 5-9 on the season for best bet. I had that one wrong and this one wrong. So as this goes on, I'll get to my final picks. To my picks. In a moment, Oklahoma number 8. Okay, Oklahoma number 8. Interesting spot for them, maybe. We'll see how my rank will go. That was number 7. It is not live because this is just a replay. Not a replay, but it came on late, so Ole Miss came on late on the ESPN network. So Ole Miss number 7. They flipped with Oregon. The Oregon's number 6 and Georgia's probably 5. And the top 4 stayed the same. Yeah, Oregon's number 6. Subscribe on Spotify. Click on the QR code on the top left hand corner. If you click on the QR code, you can subscribe to the channel. And you can subscribe to the Unscripted Sports Show on Spotify on that feed channel. Everything Unscripted 1 will be this one. This is for the Everything Unscripted. Where all our podcasts all our shows are on that. And number 4 is Georgia. Number 5 is Texas Tech. Number 4 is Georgia. Texas A&M 3. And Indiana's 2. And Ohio State's number 1. This is for the Unscripted Sports Show. So subscribe on both chat feeds. Wrestling 30 years, I'll have that for wrestling show. And that's it. There you go. That's the bracket so far. Wow. Based on who will teams out will be Utah and BYU. Tulane would be number 12. Miami, I guess, would be the I guess they're projecting Miami as the ACC champion, even though they are going to have a hard time getting in because of the scenarios I will post later. They need a lot of help to get into the ACC championship game. So I don't get who Tulane would be number 12. Miami is 11. So they're projecting Miami as the fourth best fourth conference winner, even though they can't get into the conference championship. Without help, and I mean a lot of help, we'll get to that. But so they think Miami's going to get into the ACC championship. Is what I'm saying. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, Miami must win the conference championship. According to this, they think that Miami's going to get in, and that means Virginia and SMU lose, and then they obviously beat Pitt. So we'll get to the ACC scenarios, but first, picks for this week. First pick of the day, we Friday night, Texas A&M at Texas. This is hard because I hate Texas. Horns down all day. I'm rooting for A&M, but A&M have always Texas always their from tonight. They couldn't beat them last year at home, and I don't know how they're gonna beat Texas at Texas. It's pretty much like Jerry's World where they're gonna get calls. Boy, I want to pick Texas A&M, but I see Texas winning 30-27. I hope I'm wrong with this pick, but I'm going with my head. I'm going with my gut here. Texas wins 30-27, and chaos assumes in the SEC, and I'll reveal that scenarios in a bit. Next pick, Michigan, the big game, Michigan, Ohio State. Another game where Ohio State can't win against Michigan. Ryan Day is like winless against Michigan. Maybe he's 1-1, I forget. But let me see, Ryan Day. Ryan is record against Michigan. 1-4. So they won in 2019. Team canceled in 2020. They've lost the last four. 2021, 42-27, 2022, 45-23. That 2 years ago when Michigan won the championship, 30-24. That was in Michigan. Last year, 13-10 at home. And they lost 48-23. I think that was a game that they were favored into. Yeah. But they won in Ann Arbor in 2019. So I have Michigan winning here, and that will cause a lot of chaos in the Big Ten. If Ohio State loses, Oregon wins. Boy, I have to look at that Big Ten scenarios too. If Ohio State wins or loses, does Michigan get it? Does Michigan back in the conversation? We'll see. You could have a scenario where Texas and Michigan both upset A&M and Ohio State, and then their undefeated season, and neither get into the playoffs. So next game, another upset here. No, yep. This is where craziness goes. I have Oregon losing to Washington in Washington. So chaos assumed. So you have A&M, Ohio State, and Oregon all going on the road this week. They face their rivals. Washington, Oregon are rivals, so yeah, I would count it as a rival, as a rivalry. All have big, all win, then all stay probably the same. All lose, and chaos will be rapid. If if I get all these three right and all three lose, boy oh boy, it's gonna be fun on next Tuesday when the playoff when it's revealed. Kind of hope Michigan and Oregon lose, Michigan and Washington win, and I want A&M to win. I'm hoping that's the one I'm wrong with, but if I'm right with all three and all three lose, boy oh boy, oh boy, then maybe Michigan gets in. Then Oregon goes out, right? I don't know. What would happen if that all three of those happen? That would be chaos. That would be insane if all three lost. Now all three are going on the road. All three are going on the road in tough environments. At Texas, at Michigan, at the Big House, and at Washington. None of them are tough games. None of them are easy games for either of the three teams, and all three are in the top five or top six. Tennessee and Vandy. Vandy's trying to sneak in, but I think Tennessee wins. Tennessee wins 28-24. I think Tennessee kind of owns Vandy, but it should be another good game. This is another rivalry game, in-state rival. Should be another good game. That's the only upset I don't have with that one. And then Auburn, Alabama. So you'll have Alabama, Texas A&M, Ohio State, and Oregon all going on the road, all in the top 10, going on the road in rivalry games. This is the Iron Bowl. This is the biggest. This is the biggest rivalry in college sports, in college football at least. You could argue North Carolina Duke, but Auburn, Alabama, Iron Bowl from Auburn. You know Auburn wants to end Alabama's season right here on Saturday. They would love nothing better to do than end their season. They're 5-6, but they don't care. This is the game of the game of the game. They want to end Alabama's season right here and there, right on Saturday. They want to end their season on Saturday. Because Alabama loses, they're pretty much out. Unless A&M loses, Georgia loses, then Alabama could. I don't know what happened then. Look at it. I don't know if they can still sneak in the conference championship game, but yeah, Alabama's pretty much done if they lose on to Auburn on Saturday. So yeah, those are my 5 picks. I have 4 upsets. Texas winning and there's undefeated season. Michigan ending Ohio State's undefeated season. Washington and possibly ending Oregon's hopes of the playoff or Big Ten championship. And then I have Tennessee winning, so they're not ending Vandy's hopes of a playoff. And then I have Auburn ending Alabama's hopes of a playoff. So I have 2 teams ending undefeated streaks, but those 2 teams will probably end up in the playoff anyway. Or I say in A&M or pretty much locked in, even if they lose. Vandy, they lose, they're pretty much out. Oregon lose, they may be out, but maybe not because they're ranked number 5. They're ranked number 6 right now. And then Vandy pretty much out if they lose, and Alabama's pretty much out if they lose. So my best bets for this week. Let's see. There's my best bet. 14. I have the over. No, wait. No, that's my best bet. My best bet 1 is The under 59.5 in the Georgia Tech Georgia game, minus 110 on FanDuel. I think this goes under, and we see a tight game, defensive game, and Georgia wins probably like 23-20 or something. And then bet number 2 is Miami and Pittsburgh over 51.5 on FanDuel minus 105. Those are my 2 best bets. Now to my rankings. Ranking will be on the bottom. So let me read my ranking. Last week I had Ohio State, A&M, Indiana, Texas Tech as the 4 bye teams. And then I had Ole Miss number 5, Georgia 6, Oregon 7, Georgia Tech 8, BYU 9, Notre Dame 10, Oklahoma 11, and James Madison 12. And this week, I'll go from the bottom. Number 12, I have Virginia. Since Georgia Tech lost, Virginia is the ACC co-leader with SMU and Pittsburgh, but I have Virginia number 12 because it depends on if they get in the conference championship, and they're the ones who could be out if they lose so I have them number 12. James Madison 11. I don't know why Tulane's higher than them, but whatever. I have Notre Dame number 10, Saint number 10. Yeah, I know I don't have Miami, but I think Notre Dame has a stronger resume. At least in my opinion. I know they won head to head. Yeah, that was difficult to make that decision between Notre Dame and Miami. But I felt that Notre Dame, their wins are stronger than Miami's. I think Miami's losses were to non-ranked teams, and Notre Dame's 2 losses were to Miami and A&M. So, and their losses are far better than Miami's losses, I guess. But their 2 losses came in the beginning of the season, and they've won 9 straight. So that too. Miami lost to Louisville and unranked Louisville and unranked. Who did they lose to? Who did Miami lose to? Miami lost to SMU. They lost to unranked SMU and they lost to unranked Louisville. But SMU is still in the playoff hunt because of the tiebreak, because of the tie atop the SEC, ACC. So, yeah. Let's get to these scenarios. Let's get to my rank. So number 11 is when it comes to Notre Dame. I know you can argue Miami, but Notre Dame's losses are beginning of the season, and they're ranked teams, and Miami's losses are to unranked teams. So that's my argument. But this took a little while to share, but that's a Big 12 scenarios. I'll get to each one. BYU number 9. I have Oklahoma jumping all the way to number 8 because of 5 five wins in the against top 25 teams. Yeah, I know. I probably should have put them ahead of BYU last week, but I have them number 8. Therefore, they get the home game against BYU. I have Oregon number 7, Georgia number 6, Ole Miss number 5, Texas Tech number 4, Indiana number 3, A&M number 2, and Ohio State number 1. Now let's get to the scenarios here. The Big 12 scenarios for the Big 12 championship game. A BYU win over USF, and Arizona loss. So BYU is one of 2 teams that control their own destiny. Wow, BYU win over would secure the title game. Texas Tech is the other one that controls their own destiny. So we're looking at a BYU Texas Tech rematch unless one of them loses. Utah doesn't control their own destiny. They need to win, and Texas lost, plus an Arizona State win and BYU win. If all 4 of these go Utah's way, Utah would get a rematch against BYU in the title game. So we could get the Holy War in the championship game if Texas Tech loses and Arizona State and BYU win. Arizona State gets in if Texas Tech loses, Utah wins, and BYU wins. That's the first scenario. The second is Arizona State wins, BYU loses, Utah loses. Okay, that's it. And then second one, Arizona State. Okay. So you have 2 teams that don't control their own destiny, Utah and Arizona State, and you have 2 teams that control their own destiny, BYU, Texas Tech. So we're looking at a Texas Tech BYU rematch, unless something crazy happens. So now let's look at the ACC championship scenarios. So Duke is still in it. Duke clinches with a win, and Pittsburgh loses an SMU loss, or a win, Pittsburgh lost, SMU lost, and Virginia lost. Wow, Duke can still get in. Georgia Tech clinches if Pittsburgh wins and Virginia loses and SMU loses. Miami clinches. See, this is where this is hard. Miami they need Virginia to lose, Duke to lose, and SMU to win. Okay. Pittsburgh win and plus a Virginia or SMU loss, and they're in. Which that could happen. So that's one of 3 that could happen for real. SMU wins, they're in, and Virginia wins, they're in. So Virginia and SMU control their own destiny. So we're looking at SMU and Virginia ACC championship game unless one of them loses, and then Pittsburgh is in. If Pittsburgh wins. Now, if one of them loses, Miami in. Miami's not in unless Duke loses and SMU wins. Or they win, SMU loses, Duke loses, Virginia wins. And then they need NC State to win, plus Syracuse to win. So yeah, Miami needs a lot of help. Georgia Tech is in. So the most likely scenario is probably SMU and Virginia. But I think SMU could lose. So, and Miami wins. But then there's no scenario. They would need okay. Georgia Tech wins. No, Georgia Tech loses it. Pittsburgh wins. Miami wins. SMU lose. No. So Duke might get in. Duke gets in if they win, and then Pittsburgh loses, then SMU lose. They're the most scenario. They're the third most likely team to get in if SMU loses, and then Virginia, and if yeah, Duke can get in. They're the third most likely to get in, probably. So yeah, wow, yeah, that's crazy. Now to the Big Ten one. So the Big Ten, uh, four teams still alive: Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon, and Michigan. Two teams control their own destiny: Indiana, Ohio State. Seven final weekend scenarios still exist. Wow. Here's the scenario number one: Ohio State, Indiana. Number two: Indiana, Oregon. That's if Oregon. That's if Indiana. If I'm assuming that's if Ohio State loses, then Oregon moved into that slot. Then scenario three: Indiana is in versus Michigan if Oregon and Ohio State loses. Ohio State is in if versus Indiana. It can still be Oregon. I mean Ohio State versus Indiana, and if they lose. Number five, Oregon and Michigan. That's if Oregon. That's if Ohio State and Indiana both lose, and then Michigan, Ohio State. That's if Oregon and Indiana lose. Ohio State and Indiana. How is that number seven if that's number four? Okay. Scenario one. Here we go. Scenario one. I like this. That the Big Ten has it um that way. So, Indiana defeats Purdue. Well, no, Indiana defeats Purdue. Ohio State defeats Michigan, and Ohio State and Indiana clinch. Indiana beats Purdue. Michigan defeats Ohio State, and Oregon defeats Washington. Like I said, Indiana, Michigan, it's Indiana and Oregon, but Oregon slots into that spot. Number three, Indiana, Michigan. Indiana wins, Michigan wins, Washington wins. And I have Washington, Michigan and Washington winning. So my scenario could be Indiana, Michigan. Wow. Because I have Michigan and in Washington winning. So my scenario, that that would leave number three for my picks. If my two picks happen, then scenario three will happen. Indiana, Michigan. Interesting. Scenario four: Ohio State and Michigan. Ohio State wins. Purdue wins. Oregon wins. Indiana defeated Oregon head to head. Okay. Number five: Oregon, Michigan. Purdue wins. Michigan wins. Oregon wins. Number five: Purdue wins. Michigan wins, Washington wins. So we're looking at a scenario where Michigan and Ohio State play each other after Michigan beats them. If Washington wins and Purdue wins. Wow. How is this different from, well, how's that different from number 4? That's not any different. Purdue wins, Ohio State wins, Washington wins. No, 4, Ohio State wins, Purdue wins, Oregon wins. Oh, Oregon, okay. Okay, scenario 7-4 is the only difference is Oregon and Indiana and Washington. So, yeah, that's Big Ten. What else do I have? ACC, SEC. So I did Big 12, I did ACC, I did Big 10. Now the Big 12. Now, no, not SEC. I don't know what would. Yeah, so those are the 4 big ones. No, this one. So Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, and Ole Miss could all find themselves playing the conference championship on Monday. The conference released the official conference scenarios. A&M and Alabama are the only two that control their own destiny. If both win, they would face each other in Atlanta. If the tie lose, they are eliminated from conversation. The Aggies could actually get in if they lose to Texas, as long as Alabama and Ole Miss also lose. Georgia is going to play an SEC opponent in the final game, so the Bulldogs will take Georgia Tech. And if Aggies and Alabama lose, then the Bulldogs will play in the SEC championship, which that could happen. Alabama and Texas A&M both lose, and then Georgia's in. So, well, here it is. Alabama wins or win in. Georgia needs Alabama loss and is that and or it's or Ole Miss is in if Alabama loses then A&M loses. Ole Miss needs both of them to lose. Georgia needs one of them to lose. A&M win and Alabama lose and Ole Miss loss. No, it's win or Alabama loss and Ole Miss loss. Okay, so those are the scenarios. The SEC just breaks it down easy. Alabama controls their own destiny, and A&M, Alabama, and Alabama and control their own destiny. They both win or in. It's like the Big 12 and Texas Tech and BYU. They both win or in the conference championship. We get if Alabama and A&M win, it's Alabama versus the A&M and the SEC championship in Atlanta. Ohio State, Indiana win is it's Indiana versus Ohio State in Indy, which is going to be pro Indy Indiana crowd. So Big 12, Texas Tech and BYU win. They're both in the game It's in Dallas, I believe. Is it Dallas? Let me see. I believe that's in Dallas, right? The 12. I think that's. I want to say that's the game was. I want to say it's in Dallas. So Texas Tech, BYU win. It's Texas Tech versus BYU rematch in the Big 12 championship in Dallas. I believe it's in Dallas. Yeah, it's in AT&T Stadium. That's the Big 12. ACC, same thing. Virginia, SMU win. It's Virginia versus SMU in the title game. It's just ACC championship game in Charlotte, North Carolina. If SMU and Virginia both win. Big Ten, I said, yeah, it's Indiana and Ohio State win. They're both it's Indiana versus Ohio State. Uh, SEC with that. Big 12, I already said Big Texas Tech and U. Big 10, Ohio State, Indiana, SEC, A&M, Alabama, they all win. And then SMU and Virginia, they all win. So all those teams control destiny. A&M, Alabama, and the SEC, BYU, Texas Tech, in the Big 12, Indiana, Ohio State in the Big 10, and Virginia, SMU in the ACC. All control their own destiny. They all win. All those 8 teams win. It's going to be those matchups, as I said. A&M versus Bama, SEC championship game. Texas Tech BYU in the Big 12 championship game. SMU versus Virginia in the ACC championship game, and I say in Indiana in the Big 10 championship game. So all those 8 teams win. Those are the matchups. Otherwise, it's going to be chaos. And yeah, and here's what else. Pretty much, I have chaos because I have 4 upsets. I have A&M winning, Texas winning. I have Michigan winning. I have Washington winning. I have Oregon winning. Not Oregon. I have Auburn winning. So yeah, so I have 4 of those teams losing that need to win, that control their own destiny. We'll see what happens. Should be a good Thanksgiving week. It starts Friday. If Texas and Texas A&M on Friday night. It should be great. Then Saturday, big game, Michigan and Ohio State, and then the Iron Bowl. And that night is Auburn and Alabama. Should be a great 2 days of college football. I'll be back next Tuesday to break down the conference championship games. So it will be the final regular season rankings, and then after that will be the final rankings. So we should be good. Some of those teams should be locked in. I don't think anything will change besides 5 automatic bids for the conference championship. Otherwise, I think most of the teams, I think some of the teams are going to be pretty much locked in. Or 8. Yeah, most of the teams are going to be locked in to the playoffs after this week. So, because it's just conference championship, basically the automatic. Unless something different happens with the conference championship games, and it could cause chaos. Otherwise, Is otherwise next week's rankings is pretty much going to be one teams that are going to be in the playoff, well, for the most part. But that's it. If you want to subscribe to the on Spotify for audio listeners, click the click on the scan the QR code above, and you can subscribe on Spotify to the Unscripted Sports Show feed on Spotify, and the Everything Unscripted one I'll have on the When Tunes Combined show. I'll post that on the When Tunes Combined show. Speaking of that, tomorrow night it'll be 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Will be the Thanksgiving special Thanksgiving tune puzzle, and the 7 matchups. The matchups are as follows. It will be Ricky and Morty versus Bob Burgers, X-Men animated series versus Gargoyles, the Smurfs versus Transformers, Rock Power versus Teen Titans, Batman animated series versus Dragon Ball Z, Codename Kids Next Door versus Family Cult, Odd Parents, G.I. Joe, American Hero versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at the main event. Those are the 7 matchups for tomorrow night, primetime special. Check that out at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And talk to you tomorrow night. Later, guys.
Bang. I ain't taking nothing but win.